Bada boom. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Bada bum bum. Bada bum bum. You did. That's
We
unusual.
were talking
Hmm.
if dating is easier or harder as a successful woman.
It depends. It depends what kind of partner you pick. You know?
That is a good point.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because if you're a successful woman, there's a lot of guys that are opportunists that will try to like come at you or just date you for your money. So you got to protect yourself at all costs. That's why it's very imperative, I think, if a woman's that successful to find someone on her level and not just date like a bum loser who doesn't have money or a job. Does that make sense? And to definitely get a prenup.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going to go with this was how can she, in what ways can she protect herself before she starts dating?
By choosing carefully and screening who she chooses to date. And also probably getting a prenup if she is the one who's making a lot more. That would be my opinion.
What should,
You know?
I think that opinion would be agreed upon by a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what do you think the conditions of that prenup ought to be?
Well, I don't know. I never had a prenup, so I don't know what conditions are. I don't know too much about it.
So,
You know.
yeah, I suppose
And then if a
they're all
guy's not okay
different,
with
and
you
some
getting
people
a
say they're
prenup,
not
if a guy's not
enforced.
okay with it, you dump him.
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. That could be a way to filter people out in the beginning. Just even mention the prenup.
Yep. Because then you'll know what he's really after. Yep.
Yeah. Because for the prenup, it could be typically it would be all money that's made prior to commencing the union, I would think, uh, is yours, is not the other parties. But if you're a successful woman and you might also be thinking about afterwards, if you keep earning multi six figures or more a year, does this guy really, what does he bring to the table?
Right. It's a tough one because right now I have this guy who's dating my next door neighbor and she makes a lot of money. And one day I heard them arguing and he called her a fraud. He said, because she mentioned the word prenup to him and he goes, "What? Fuck that. That ain't love. Like you're a fraud." Mm-hmm. So and that's how I know he's after her.
That ain't love.
Yep. And he's also like abusive, and they had an altercation where he trashed her apartment, and me and the neighbor called the cops and shit. Yeah, he's a bum, and he has no job, and he moved to her apartment after 2 months of dating, and he doesn't pay rent there. And I said, "Well, what does he do for work?" And you know what she said? She goes, "He helps me with my job, so I pay him." I'm like, so he's a bum, and she doesn't see it. And she took him back after that situation where he trashed her apartment drunk and pushed her to the ground and made her pinky bleed. She took him back. And she even lied to the cops to protect him. So I don't know what's wrong with these women. And she makes well over 100K and stuff. Like, I don't know what she makes, but she's vice president of like her company and stuff. And like, I think it's like software sales that she does or something like that. Mm-hmm. A bum. I don't
That
know why
sounds like exact.
women go after these losers, but I think it boils down to you loving yourself and what you think you deserve. What else would it be? Why else would she date a loser without a job and he
That,
moved in months number 2? That's a red flag right there. Doesn't make sense.
it doesn't make sense, but we see red flag relationships so often.
And that's a problem, right? And that's because most people probably need therapy, right? And that's because most people probably need therapy, right?
You, it's me.
But that's why I know, and I've been in situations.
And I wonder if it's just the guy is,
I used to date an ex. I know about this all too much, but you know what? I'm not settling. That's the thing. A lot of times people This is the problem. People settle, okay? And if a man meets you or a girl meets you at your most vulnerable time, that's not good either. Because that's a problem in itself too. That's why it's very important to like love yourself first and protect yourself and really be okay with being alone and give yourself time to heal. What about the people after they break up, they jump from relationship to relationship nonstop? That's not healthy either. And then you're doomed to repeat history. Yeah. Yeah.
How long do you think you have to give yourself after a relationship before you get out again?
Before you get into another one, I don't know, at least a few months. Yeah. You need time to heal, do self reflection, learn from the bad relationship you had. You know, you really have to learn from all this. But so many times people get scared and they're like, "Oh, love me," you know. But yet it's like, what the hell? Like, love yourself first. Like, why aren't you working on you? I understand people want to be loved. I get on you. I understand people want to be loved. I get that. But if it's toxic, if it's not healthy, if it's trauma bonded, if it's codependency, what the hell? It's doomed, you know. And with the next door neighbor, she said he already kind of cheated. There was an ex that texted him about him. And I'm like, why are you still with
I
him?
wonder if there's a
I don't get it.
someone.
Hello?
Oh, I wonder if there's a way for a woman who's successful to vet a guy without just his profession.
Okay, that's a good one. My answer to that is
Because if sh
don't make him move in after 2 months. That's number one. You don't do that. Why the fuck would you live with someone? You know nothing about them. Too much about them. Give it at least 6, 8 months to a year before you move in with someone. Even 6 months, I think, is a little. Give it at least 8 months to a year. That should be number one. That's how you can protect yourself because you don't know someone till you know them. Okay, that's number one. Number two, don't always see them. Like, and when you do see them, actions speak louder than words. You have to know how. You have to see how they treat you, how they treat other people, how they even talk to you. See how they treat you, how they treat other people, how they even talk to you. What love is blind, and we choose to ignore them or make excuses or go into denial. Okay, that's the problem. All because so bad people want to be loved and they think they're running out of time. So let me get someone because I need to get married and pop out a kid. They freak out. That's what it is. They freak out. And I'm like, what are you freaking out about? You can't do that. It's like societal pressures or it's not good. I wish more people did therapy. I really do. And it could stem from childhood. It can stem how your parents raised you, what you saw in the house. Because if you have trauma from childhood, that could be a thing too. Why are you dating the wrong guys, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I used to do it, I know. So, but now I'm, really opening up my eyes. And I'm really starting to pay attention to the warning signs. When you're dating someone, it should be easygoing and flowing. If it's not, there's a problem. That's a red flag. In my opinion, that's a red fucking flag. That's another way you could vet it. If he's not bringing peace to you, and if you're getting agitated and stressed out, why are you with him? There's a billion fish in the sea. That's my opinion.